Okay, I wanted the next video in this series to immediately follow the previous video because we're dealing with Lydian and very common Lydian moves. I mean, I would say almost, well, formula based. I mean, the last one was actually a very common formula someone like John Williams would use. We're going to actually look at the difference between pedal pointing on the root of Lydian and then interchanging with major, and then the pedal pointing on the 5th degree, and see what the difference is. And you might want to use this trick to temporarily introduce your theme, or just part of it, in a little bit slightly more neutral way. It still has that Lydian sound, but it's not as almost dramatically powerful. It's a little less dramatically powerful. However, it will still produce a very, very nice kind of Lydian sound. And most people don't know you could pedal point with Lydian on the 5th degree as well, between 1 and 2, and then switch to major, of course. But we're going to compare like this. You know, the original one had this Lydian 1 and 2 over the D pedal point, and then the D major 2. Okay, so now we're going to compare it with a version that uses the same process, but with the 5th degree in the bass. Okay, Lydian and major intermix because of the Lydian 2 and the major 2. Okay, so let's listen to the original one first. So that has that, and I explained it in the previous Lydian video, everything about this sequence. It has that kind of really high point, dramatic main theme kind of sound. Now, this one, on the other hand, I'm actually doing a few things, and this is actually good practice to modulate into your melody and then to modulate out, and only use it temporary. But we're gonna again we're gonna use that same exact theme, but the main pedal point is going to be on A instead of the D, okay? And we're not going to use the entire theme either. These are things you should probably learn as a dramatic composer, is to really get to your theme very quickly. So let's go ahead and listen to it. Okay, so this is not about how to modulate. I'm gonna briefly talk about this just for a second, but this is good practice to be able to modulate into your theme very rapidly. So, truthfully, I was thinking about parallel minor, and this is a good reason to go watch those Why Study Bach stuff, because you're gonna find most of your modulations, even from like John Williams, are actually very functional. So the E half diminished in first inversion is actually a half diminished 2-1 move. But in inversion, that way I can get to the 5th degree like that, and then treat that as D Lydian. So literally, study functional harmony all the way from Bach to modern times. So we have this Lydian 1, 2, D major 2, D major 1. But the pedal point's different. It's not on the root anymore. It's on the 5th degree. Has a little bit different sound. Still sounds magical, but not as dramatic as the first example. It doesn't sound like the highlight point. Well, it still has that dreamy Lydian nature, but because of that 5th as the pedal point, it sounds a little bit less a high point and a little bit more neutral, okay? And then I modulate out. And I'm not going to explain this because this is really not a course in modulation, okay? I mean, you could steal the move if you want, but you should really learn how to pivot chord modulate. So this is what you really want to concentrate on. That fifth in the bass gives it a slightly less dramatic sound when intermixing. And the fifth is actually a very common pedal point to use. So the fifth and the root in almost any form of music. So this is a good practice, if you know how to modulate, is to modulate into your themes. Okay. This is actually just a very common practice. Try to use your themes in all kinds of situations. Let's say minor, for instance. Let's just do that real quick. So learning how to use thematic material in smaller chunks is also a very, very good compositional device that you can, if you really want to get into that, study people like Wagner. They're masters at that. So, but you just want to get out of this is that pedal point of Lydian mixed with major on the fifth degree. It has a little bit more neutral sound. It doesn't sound as finalized and dramatic as the first version. It's a little bit more neutral version of Lydian. It's still dreamy. It's just a little bit more neutral. So, I'm just going to wrap this up very quickly because I don't want these to be very long. Well, first off, I want to say again that, you should really, really buckle down and study harmonic material dating all the way back to Bach. I'm not going to lie. This is how people like John Williams, Jerry Goldsmith, all those people get a very large harmonic vocabulary, is because they know things other than film score moves.